No matter what, people will commit to misunderstanding you. What's most important is your commitment to understanding yourself. Hello, you guys. My name is Nkirk Madani, known as NK, and welcome back to Misunderstood. Why are you still single? That's what I was asked last night at a bar. If you're listening to this, and if you've ever been asked that question by a guy at a bar, or your family, or your friends, or strangers, this episode is absolutely for you. That question holds a lot of weight. A lot of people who ask it might not be doing it with malicious intent, but it could come off a little negatively. You don't know me, you don't know my background, and you don't know why I am the way I am. So I believe that question really can elicit a lot of different responses. And this story is telling you what happened last night and why it will be helpful to you. I went out last night to a bar with a friend. I've recently met this friend, and her and I are the same age. We're both 30, and we decided, why not be each other's wing woman? Why not go out to bars and converse with guys in person? That is my primary source of meeting people and my preferred source of meeting people. This bar was pretty crowded, and I had taken note very early on in the night that there was a lot of guys there. For those who aren't familiar with the New York City nightlife scene, if we're looking at it from a ratios perspective, there are definitely more girls than guys at every bar I am ever at. But this was definitely different. I would say that there were probably more guys than girls at this bar. We both thought, perfect, this will be a great way to mingle and meet people. We were there for 2 hours. Within the first hour of us being there, I could feel in my peripheral there were guys staring at me. I didn't fully look, but you know when you can feel it, you're probably right. Those same guys came closer to me. They were across the way and they came closer and closer. Eventually, they started talking to me. One of the guys was married. The other, we learned later on, he had no intent of being in a relationship. He quite literally said he was more comfortable being single. So you would think, I wonder why these guys would have struck up conversation with me. Who knows? But they asked me, first off, small talk questions. Where are you from? How are you liking New York? Have you been to this bar? And then the questions escalated. The married guy said, "You were so eloquent, so beautiful. You could probably get any guy. Why are you single?" I was really taken aback by his question. I thought, this is a guy's perception of me. This is a guy's perception of what he thinks about me based off of a 15-minute interaction. I said, I'm single because I haven't found somebody who I want to further a connection with. And then he said, you're probably too picky. And here's where the misunderstanding comes in. I believe so many girls are probably misunderstood with people thinking that they are only single because we are too picky. When in fact, there are so many factors that attribute to why we choose to be single. Being single is a choice. Let us not forget. I told him I wouldn't consider myself picky. I consider myself very intentional and knowing exactly what I want and not settling. He explained to me how he met his wife. Then the other guy was explaining his past dating experiences. And it led me to really understand how men and women are so different with how we operate in a dating sphere. Men are a lot more visual and in the moment, while women are more methodical and intentional and more emotional. We talked in the bar for probably 45 minutes, which was a pretty long interaction. And throughout that interaction, he was asking me a ton of different things regarding dating. He asked me, how do I meet people in New York? And I explained I am not a fan of dating apps and I would rather meet people in real life, like how we're doing right now. And he also asked me, how many guys come up to you and you just don't talk to them? Which was an assumption assumption on his part, and I did call him out for that. I told him, honestly, a lot of people don't come out of their way and come up and talk to me. This is a pretty rare occurrence. And then we started to dissect how women and men move through social situations. Specifically in a bar, I told him that guys probably don't come up to me because, one, they might not want to interrupt me hanging out with my friends. Two, they're intimidated by me. And yes, I have had guys tell me that they are intimidated by me. Or three, they think that they don't have a chance and therefore they just don't try. There are definitely assumptions and misunderstandings from the guy's POV, and there are also misunderstandings and assumptions on the woman's POV. When a guy comes up to me, not all the time, but half of the time, I am a little on the defense because I don't know what their intentions are. But hey, that is also an assumption on my end, which I don't have to have all the time. That is just my defense mechanism, as we girls have. Also, when I talk to a guy for at least 10-15 minutes, I start to get a sense of what he's about. No, I don't know everything about him, but I start to have a little bit of a sense of who he is and whether I can see myself with him or I can see myself going on a date or furthering the connection. And I am very much a strong proponent on, if I do not see a viable connection off of that, then I don't want to waste your time and I'm not going to waste my time either. So I would rather just leave it at that. I'm not going to give you my number or my Instagram. We could just leave it here. It doesn't have to be that deep. So now going back to his string of questioning, it really felt like an interview when I think back to it. But guys have a very skewed view of what girls want. And I think that is half of the problem. We are not picky. We are just intentional. There is a difference. We have taken the time to understand what we want. We have taken the time to really allow ourselves to envision what we need and what we crave. That is not being picky. Mind you, we are in a city that is so oversaturated, and there are so many guys who will take you on a lavish date one night and will never talk to you again the next. Because in their minds, they have a whole host of options. So why are you special in their eyes? But no, you are special. He just didn't see that. He just didn't take the time to really understand that and really want to put his cards in and pursue that. So no, we are not picky. We are just intentional because we see the long game where a lot of guys don't. A lot of guys want to sleep with you on the first date. A lot of guys want to get something out of you in some way. Most guys don't want to go the distance, and that is why we are intentional. We are not just going to fall over to the first guy who gives us attention. That's not who we are. And if that makes us quote unquote picky, then so be it. But that is not the actual definition of what picky is. We are protecting ourselves at the end of the day, emotionally, physically. These are all the things that are so important in the woman experience that guys will never understand. I want to go back in time and talk about my dating experience, specifically in New York. I've been in New York for 2 years now, and I haven't had very good luck with dating. A lot of that comes from what I mentioned previously about many guys being non-committal and not really wanting to be intentional about dating, but a lot of it stems from me and stems from my hyper independence, which I'm working on, but also me allowing myself to be in that feminine energy and be in that mindset to be ready to receive dating and to be ready to receive relationships. Because I will be honest, I wasn't in that mode when I moved to New York. My first and foremost intention with moving to New York was to live here so intentionally for myself. I was being selfish in the best ways because the best things happen to us when we finally put ourselves first. And I didn't want my New York story to begin with a boy and chasing a boy, and I didn't want it to be tied to me being in a relationship at the beginning. I needed to look back on my New York experience and be really proud that I did this on my own. So I intentionally did not date for the first year of being in New York. Well, for the first 9-10 months. towards the end of 2023 is when I actually started to go on dating apps. And I quickly, very, very quickly was repulsed. There was so much that I hated about the act of going on these dating apps. There was so much I hated about the pen pal experience. I hated that guys were not really there for the right reasons and they weren't actually willing and interested in wanting to pursue something real. A lot of guys just wanted to hook up, and that's not where I'm at in my life. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's you, go off, have fun, be safe, but that's not where I am at in life. And then I had to really think about how my intentions with dating now as a 30-year-old are starkly different than what they were when I was in my early 20s. And for a good reason. And that is how it should be. We grow and we evolve and we mature. And so should our intentions. And my intention right now in my life is for something real and is for a long-term relationship that will hopefully turn into marriage and so on. When I go onto these dating apps and see so much of the opposite of what I am striving for, that is extremely disheartening. But we are in this modern age where online dating apps is king, and that sucks for the girls like me who know that they would thrive in a in-person environment. But then also that begs the question, does that mean that we need to go get dressed up every night and go to a bar until 3 a.m.? No, that also does not sound appealing at all. I feel like I'm a grandma. I want to be home by 10, 11 p.m. and I don't want to wake up hungover. So where does that leave us? Does it leave us with scouring more online groups to try to find in real life meetups? Does that leave us with going on speed dating endeavors? Where does this leave us? Yes, there is the angle of the mutual friend who has a friend who's single, but those are also very few and far between. A lot of us don't have that privilege and that honestly a luxury to have a network that can afford us that access. I'm so happy for you if you have that, but a lot of us don't. So where does that leave the rest of us who crave more, who are so worthy of more and are willing to put in the work for a true and lasting partnership? It feels like we don't have many options. We are not picky. We are just intentional. And we are single by choice because we are not settling. Back to the friend who I went out with last night. We were sitting at the bar by ourselves and I told her, I realize that I can't complain about not going on dates when I am sitting at home, not being social. There's a lot of truth to that. So now that I know that being out and meeting people in real life is my MO, is where I shine, great. I need to do it more. Yes, it is a little exhausting. However, if I don't put myself out there, it's pretty tough to start complaining. I'm trying my best to go out at least once a week. I'm not going to go out super late because, again, that's not me and that's not what I crave. You also have to align yourself with what you truly are. If you're going out of your way and doing things that are disingenuous to you, that is not the way to find what you're looking for. When I realized that, that changed the game. Last night, I took myself home at a respectable hour. I needed to go home. I was tired. I wanted to get enough sleep. I didn't want to be groggy the next morning. Now I'm sitting here in my New York City apartment, reflecting on last night, realizing that there are ways that I can go out into the world, flex that social muscle, mingle with people, but on my terms. There is a push and pull here. There is a little bit of going out of your way, but doing it on your terms. I'm going to pick days that work best for me. I'm going to pick times and areas of New York that I enjoy and work best for me. And then I am going to go and I am going to mingle and hopefully talk to at least one new person. And you know what? If it doesn't end up in a date, maybe it might end up in something else very fruitful. Maybe a business connection, maybe a good guy friend. I could use some of those. I don't really have guy friends. The The girls who get it, get it. Most of my guy friends who I've ever had have wanted to sleep with me, which you can't really have a guy friend who secretly wants to sleep with you. So if this process could bring some guy friends in my life, sign me up. I realize I have to do things a different way to get where I want to go. You can't do things the same way and expect a different result. There is some accountability on my end that I have to do to get to where I want to go. Also realizing that forcing it is not going to get me what I want. PSA to you listening to this, never force a situation. Never force a relationship. Never force a date. Let it be. Because if it's supposed to happen, it will. And if it won't, it's for good reason. Trust and believe that. If anyone tells you you are too picky, tell them, no, I have standards. I have things that are important to me in my life and my lifestyle. And I'm only bringing in people who fit that, because otherwise it is not worth it. It is a waste of my time and it is a waste of theirs. Do not ever let anyone make you feel like you are wrong for wanting the things you want, especially because we just spoke about needing to change up how you view dating and change up what you need to do to get a different result. Take these steps right now. On a piece of paper or on your notes app, describe your love life. What does your love life look like to you in your own words? Take some time and write that down. Be as descriptive as possible. Next, write down what is your ideal guy. Paint the picture for yourself in words. What types of characteristics does this guy have? What does he look like? What does he sound like? What attributes make up this person? Write that all down. Then write down what are some deal breakers when it comes to guys. This is so important. Honestly, one of the most important things that you can write down, because deal breakers are the cornerstone of a relationship. They will literally make or break them. And my biggest advice here is when you have a deal breaker, that means it's really important to you. Do not let it get swayed in any way, shape, or form. Because what I've seen in so many instances is people bending on their deal breaker. No. You can bend and compromise on other things, because let's be clear, there has to be compromises on both ends. But your deal breakers are so true and honest to you. Do not bend on those. If someone doesn't have that, walk away, please, because you will resent yourself for it if you bend on these. So take some time, write down your deal breakers. So now that you have this list of attributes and things to think about with dating, this will be your blueprint. This will help you navigate dating in a different way, because honestly, it starts with your mindset. It starts with how you think of dating, because if you think about it negatively, negative results will happen. If you think about it positively and start putting a more positive outlook and spin on dating, really good things are going to start to happen naturally, because you are then aligning yourself with good intentions. And with good intentions come good results. And the last thing I want to talk about is feeling insecure around being single. I have felt pretty insecure around being single for a good amount of time now. May 2025 will be 4 years of being single. Sometimes that makes me feel like I'm not worthy of love, but that is absolutely not the case. We are all worthy of love, and we all do have a person. Do we know where they are in the world? Maybe not, but we do all have one. And I truly believe with positive intention and aligning yourself with better environments and better experiences and better ways of thinking, you will get that love story that you do yearn for. Also, if you are in your 30s, 40s, however old you are listening to this, do not let anyone make you feel uncomfortable or insecure about your age in relation to dating. Another quick story about last night's encounter with those guys. One of the guys asked me, do you think society is harder on women or men when it comes to dating and their looks? And it was unanimous. Girls are way more picked apart in the media, in society, in our day-to-day. If you are a woman listening to this, and if you have ever in your life felt picked apart or made to feel uncomfortable or small or less than or insecure about being single or not being in a relationship, please walk away from the people and the environments that are making you feel that way, first of all. Second of all, write down all of the most amazing things and accomplishments about you, as well as the things you love about yourself. I find that these activities actually work so well. When you can recognize all that you are, other people's opinions don't matter. You let other people infiltrate your mind when you are not confident in what you have. But when you write it down on paper, you actively see, oh, wait a minute. I am the shit. I am hot. I am great. I'm smart. I have a community. I have friends. I have a good job. I'm good at what I do. And the list goes on because you could probably name way more than what I just said. When you have all that, it's quite literally common sense that you are great and your person is just around the corner. It's not, oh, boo-hoo, I'm single. It's, oh, wait a minute. I'm amazing. I'm living my life as this awesome single girly, and my future person is so excited to meet me. I'm so excited to be in a loving relationship when the time is right and when the time comes. But until then, I am amazing, beautiful, smart, kind, wonderful, on my own, and no one will ever change that. Also, let us be very clear. Being in a relationship does not and should not detract from who you are. Being in a relationship is a value add. That person who's coming into your life, that is a value add. He or she is not going to close this missing puzzle piece in your life. It is not a void that needs to be filled. You fill your own cup, and then he or she adds to it. He or she enhances your life. Never detracts, enhances. Being single is not something to look at negatively. We really have to start reworking our brains. We have to stop drinking the society bullshit that tells us that life is not worth living if we are single. You have to start thinking about being single as something so beautiful and an amazing time in your life and an amazing season of your life. When I look at my years of being single so far, I think, wow, I've made so many strides as a human being. That makes me really proud. I started my own business. I moved to my favorite city in the world. I have strengthened my friendships. I've gotten amazing work opportunities. I've traveled solo so many times. And yes, you can obviously do all of that while you are in a relationship, but something about this time in your life, being single, is so important and so magical. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, I also live in my own apartment where I get to connect with myself every single day. That is such a niche and beautiful feeling that I'm so privileged that, one, I get to live by myself. When I am in a relationship and get married, I will look back on this time in my life with so much admiration and so much love and care because I took the time to remember who I am at my core, to remember that I am amazing and I have so many opportunities right now in this time of my life that yes, I am going to go forth and live it to the fullest. It is true when they say that this is a season of your life. You will wake up one day and you will be married with kids. You will maybe yearn for these years again. But if you feel like you didn't fully live in your singlehood, you will regret that. You will absolutely regret that later on if you do not take time right now to appreciate all that you are when you are single, all of the access that you can do when you are single. You don't have to run anything by anybody. You can just pick up and go. You can just get on a plane. You can live in your apartment and decorate it exactly how you want. You can move to a different state, country. You make all your decisions for yourself. And that is a very, very great and beautiful feeling. And I know a lot of people forget about that because we are thinking, oh, well, I want a partner and I want a boyfriend and I want to do all this cute boyfriend, girlfriend stuff. And yes, I'm right there with you, sister. I want all that too. I yearn for that. I am a lover girl. So you bet your ass I want to be taking all these cute pictures with my man to have that cute romantic lifestyle. We will get that. Listen to me when I say we will get that. It will come. It will absolutely come. But if we are not ready to receive it, i.e., if we are not working on ourselves and if we are not appreciating our time right now being single, then that time is not going to be as fruitful as we so romanticize it. It's one thing to romanticize it, and then it's another thing to actively live it. If we aren't appreciating and romanticizing our own time right now with ourselves and being our own best friend and being our own lover, that time is not going to be as fruitful as we think it is. Being single is a choice. It is not a bad wish. It is a beautiful time to be all that you are and to not need to compromise about it or feel sorry about it or apologize for it. You don't have to. Because being single is so great in so many ways. Being very comfortable with yourself is step one, because that will eliminate all of the negative noise and it will allow you to truly see that you are beautiful, perfect, amazing, inspiring. Anybody will be so incredibly thankful to have you in their life. And with that, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Misunderstood. Please let me know your thoughts on this episode. Remember to rate this podcast as well and follow on Spotify. Come hang out with me on my other socials: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest at NK Madani, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.